Hello everyone, this is Sharon. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to review The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 9, Episode 5. So if you'd like to listen, This episode opens up with Phaedra just chilling at the house and Portia comes to visit. So they sit down and have a little summer drink or whatever. And they both are slaying maxi dresses. Both of them are really cute. So that Phaedra announces to Portia that she's going to attend the Democratic National Convention. She has some things that she would like to. She has been invited by, I think it's Congresswoman Wilson. I think it's Wilson, her last name. And she wants to have this small synopsis of people to get together. These are lawmakers and politicians and community leaders. She wants to discuss issues that's going on in her community, and one of them is police brutality. So she decides to ask Portia to come along, and Portia jumps right in right away. She said, my grandfather is Hosea Williams, and he was very big on civil rights. Okay, fast forward to the day of the Democratic National Convention, and they're enjoying, the ambiance of it all and all the people and the scenes and seeing all the famous people that have decided to attend. And at nighttime, later that evening, they have this meeting, and they're discussing, you see some famous people discussing some really big issues. And I like that in Phaedra. She's going to make sure that she gets in on, let's help our community. Even though she has her ways, everyone does, she's going to do some serious things. And she's bringing Portia in on it to show her how it's done, I guess. Portia's very young. And I like that in it. Women showing women how to work it out. And you don't have to be scandalous. The show is so interesting to me. The show does not have to be so scandalous all the time. We want to see that these women are making their way in this world, are using their platforms to do positive things, and that I like. So they call themselves Frick and Frack. Frick and freaking Frack. Okay, when it's over, Phaedra discusses with Portia. She hates to, separate from her, but she has to go and visit Apollo in the prison. And, this is stressful enough having to, she comes to the Democratic National Convention because she has something she wants to say. And the fact that she has to go visit Apollo in order to get him to sign these divorce papers, which for some reason it seems he's not signing. So she goes on and Portia returns home. Okay, as she's traveling to the prison, it's somewhere outside of where they were. She gets a call and she asks the driver to pull over. And this call seems to be very serious. And someone's telling her from her office that a man has been caught with a bomb or some kind of grenade or some effect trying to enter their building, and the police have him now. But he said he wasn't leaving until, he didn't want anyone to stop him. He was going to take out himself and anybody that tried to stop him. So this really stresses her out. She already have the stress of the convention. Then this right here. And then she has to also go visit with Apollo to get him to sign these papers. So she's really, really stressed out, and she calls her mom. And her mom reassures her, I'm going to make sure that me and the kids are okay. What a mom. That girl has a great mom. And cause she's always helping Phaedra. She reminds me of my mom, of moms around the world. We have to do what we can and what we have the ability to do to help our children. And It's not always, the easy thing, but it is the thing. So her mom decides to, let's pray, Phaedra. And she prays and she asks, God to put a blessing on Phaedra. And she knows that he will, and that she's a strong woman and God is stronger. And that he's going to watch over you, Phaedra. So don't worry. Just go ahead with your plans and do what you have to do. And I just thought that was a powerful scene in a reality show. That mom sat on that phone and prayed and reassured her daughter, you're going to be okay. Okay, Kenya. Kenya invites Cynthia cake decorating class, something like that. And she reveals to Cynthia that she is planning a outing for Matt's birthday, which would be so nice. It's supposed to be some kind of all-terrain vehicle outing, and she's going to invite couples only. And so that made Cynthia feel some kind of way, like, okay, now that I'm not part of the group, I'm left out of the group, because I'm not a couple anymore. And she didn't know how she felt about that. That didn't seem to be fair. But Kenya, reassures her, I haven't forgotten about you, Cynthia. We're going to be doing a lot of things together. Kenya starts to talk about the last outing they all went on. That was the laser tag thing. And she said Sheree was being shady by constantly coming after her with this laser tag. Well, you think you've decided to, talk to her like any old thing, and Sheree's not the one. I told you, Sheree is not the one. But she said that she felt like she was constantly, on her. And Cynthia, she's playing the neutral friend. I wonder why why she would do that. Why would she, come after you? So let's fast forward to the day of the outing with the ATVs in the couples outing. Everybody shows up, Candy, another group, and another girl who Candy says, oh, I don't know. And she said, oh, I'm a fill-in. I'm going to fill in for, and Candy said, who? She said, Matt. Candy said, Matt didn't come to his own birthday party. Now, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not judging, but I wouldn't be surprised that Kenya with Matt is probably as I want to say abrasive as she is with the girls. She's always shading people. She probably had said some things, I don't know, but she probably have said some things that, Matt finds to be abrasive. I mean, it shouldn't be coming from my girlfriend who I'm in love with. But I don't know. But she says that it's because she did a Throwback Thursday picture of her on the set with Jay-Z for a video. And he didn't find it that it was respectful for a girl who was dating another man. Now, if that's the truth, Matt, you need to grow up. It's a Throwback Thursday. That was many, many years ago. And it was a video shoot. So, who knows what the truth is, but that's what she put it as. So, anyway, Matt didn't come. They all had fun on this outing. And so Candy says, Candy with her shit started. So I guess she says she always shaded everybody else. Let's put her in the hot seat. So, Kenya, tell us the truth. Why didn't Matt show up? And Kenya goes on to tell the story about Matt being immature and really not wanting to give a little bit, take a little bit, give a little bit. So she's, not feeling him. She's still feeling him. He's still her boyfriend. But she didn't want to cancel the trip just because he got a little upset and decided not to come to his birthday trip. Which, there might be more to this story, but we shall see. Sheree drives up to a park where her son is playing ball with another person playing catch football. And she wants to talk to him about this phone call she got in the middle of the night about him. And it turns out that he was driving a car and he was pulled over by the police. Now the police, the call person who called her told her that he had been smoking marijuana and that he was being charged with all these things. But her son said no. They thought I had marijuana on me, and they searched the car. They couldn't find anything. I was pulled over for expired tags. Now, look, let me tell you something, you young people. When you don't have your tags up to date, you're asking to be pulled over. They don't only pull over young people for this. They pull over anybody that has expired tags. So I don't think that you should give that as an excuse to be driving around. If you're driving around, and he said he might have smoked some weed, but it wasn't in that car, and he doesn't know where that came from. So, and he was just charged with expired tags. So Sheree, she wants to really, reiterate or make her son Cairo understand this country has a problem with police pulling over young black men. And I don't want you to be a victim. If your tags, and my advice to Cairo, if your tags are expired, make sure you keep those up. We all have to do this in this country. It's not a color thing. You have to do this, Cairo. You're a new driver and you probably really didn't understand that you have to keep this up. This gives them proof that they're working when they go out there, but they didn't have to, and they write these tickets. Now, all this person was to do, this policeman should have done, is write you a ticket. Why they took you in, I don't know. That was a little excessive. So I don't blame Sheree for being concerned. This policeman may have had, a harassment agenda, as people are suspecting. But all he had to do was get a boy a ticket. The boy probably didn't have any other things on his record because he just started driving. Sheree decides, I've been mother and dad to my son. Let his dad pick up some of his slack and talk to him about this, because to me this is a serious issue. So she takes Cairo to Bob's house so that Bob can sit down and have a talk with him. And what she didn't expect was Bob to admit that he, used weed to conquer pain from playing football when he first got started, because he didn't have any kind of medical card. He didn't have medical insurance. But he wants his son to live a different life. You have medical insurance. You don't need to be driving with expired tags. And what I was waiting for him to say is, call me, son. I don't have the money to get your tags fixed. Call me, son. I'm your dad. I'll help you. But that didn't, if they did, they cut it out because it didn't show on the show. But he did talk to him and tell him, I want you to do things, better than me. And Cairo admitted, I might not have made the right decisions back then, but I promised to do better, which was really good. That's when you get that man in there to say, okay, son, this is how we're going to do things. And I think that was a good move on Sheree. Give yourself a break, even though you put in your voice. He's heard your voice and he's heard his dad's voice. So good for you, Sheree. So every time you see Candy and Todd these days, they are really stressed about this restaurant, what is it called? The 3 Old Ladies restaurant, with these wonderful recipes that he's getting from the 3 members of Candy's family. And Candy seems to be, they both seem to be very stressed out about it. Candy said Todd haven't washed his balls, oiled his clothes, changed his clothes in 3 days. Todd, we're going to need you to, take a shower every morning, even though you're going in construction dust. We need you to plan that out every morning. Go on and wash yourself up. It makes things a lot more pleasant for the workers and your wife and your family. But anyway, so Mama Joyce shows up and she decides, she tells them, you know, I have a surprise for you. Come here. So they go to Candy's guest house. She's fixed it up all romantically. And she says, I'm going to take the baby and you guys get to hang out here. So I guess Todd's going to decide to wash his balls because then Candy, you know, she appreciates it and she's looking around and loving everything that she sees that her mom did for them. And she goes back to the main house and changes into something sexy. And Mama Joy said, oh, where you going? Oh, okay, yeah. She said, well, since you did this for us, I really wanted to put it on blast. So I want to step up my game. So she comes out with this beautiful little negligee outfit with a what do you call it? A house coat over it. And it's gorgeous. And she has some little kitten heels on. It's really cute. And so Mama Joyce, she said, okay. So she heads back for the guest house. And Mama Joyce hollers, hey, you know, old ladies like to be sexy too. I might want to borrow that. Okay. No, Mama Joyce. You're going to get your own and let Candy have hers. Just the thought of you borrowing her romantic outfit just does not sit well. Okay. So Candy goes back. Todd's taking a bath. Looked like because he had his clothes off. And they talk for a while and then they head towards the bedroom. And the rest is history. We might have another little ace in the place next year. Who knows? And we'll have Mama Joyce in there for this night. Candy gets a call at the couple's outing. And she's, you know, telling everyone that about the bomb threat that was at Phaedra's building and what the man said and everything. And they're all concerned. Kenya kind of like, oh, sorry to hear that. Very lightly now. But she cleaned it up. She said, I wouldn't want anything to happen to Phaedra. You know, she has 2 young children. This is very serious. So thank you, Kenya, because I was about, okay. So Cynthia's checking out a new house. Her real estate agent is taking her to this. It looks okay from the outside house, but when you go inside, that house is gorgeous. They have gorgeous houses out here in Atlanta. She's taking her through the bedrooms and the living room, and they go out on the out part, the deck part, and there's an outside shower, and they're very impressed. The main person very impressed is her daughter, and her daughter says, okay, we'd like to make an offer right here. Cynthia said, pump your brakes, little girl. You don't have a job. And she really starts thinking about it would be nice to be able to live out here. She talks about why Peter doesn't want her to stay. He said that's the one thing he asked for in the divorce, that she sell the house. And she's saying that he wants her to sell it because, you know, he doesn't want another man living in the house that he lived in with her. What he could do is fight for her, because Cynthia is one jump away from saying, I want to go back with Peter. That girl was in love with him. And I think that if he had really, really get in there and fight for her, he would win. But, you know, right now she's got her mind set on divorce. He's not fighting for her. And that's what's going to happen. So that's it. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Bye for now.